Welcome to the Sisterhood Tea Party, where we get together weekly to discuss all the tea about life, relationships, pop culture, and generally anything you chat about with your best friend over a cup of tea or beverage of choice.
We're your hosts, Stephanie and Jessica, and we've been spilling the tea to each other for more than a decade, and now we're ready to invite the rest of you to the tea party.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
How's it going?
We're here. We're here.
Yeah, we showed up, so
Do you ever feel like this? Are you in a rut? I feel like we're in an infomercial.
right. Have you ever felt like this? Holidays got you down, end of year got you in your head. You might be in a rut.
Be in a rut.
But no fear. The Sisterhood Tea Party is here to share how to get out of a rut.
Hi, friends. We just, we had to come on looking like our homely self, looking like we're in a rut
hmm
because we've been there, and that's what this episode's about. And we get into ruts too, and we feel you.
hmm But no worries, y'all. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna walk you through it and hope you can get out of it.
We're gonna get through it together, truly.
hmm
Okay,
We will.
before we get into our tips and advice of how to go from being in a rut to like glowing, which we will be by the end of this episode, um, let's talk about what. Oh, not the thumbs up.
Not the thumbs up. I thought I shut that off.
It's fine. It's fine. We needed that. Um,
hmm
Stephanie, what is top of mind for you today?
Well, top of mind for me, going into the new year, I've been kind of debating like how I want to elevate my fitness journey, if you will. Like, as you know, I've been working out at the strength training gym for now a couple years. Obviously, still teaching spin classes, but I'm wanting to, I don't know, I want to do something else. You know, what is going, why are you laughing? What,
I'm trying
what,
so hard to listen to you sing.
I can't be serious. What would you like me to do with this blanket? Would you like me to take it off while I tell you about my fitness journey? Or
I'm
can I keep it
trying.
on?
I'm gonna get my life together over here. Continue, please. I really do want to hear about your fitness
Let me
journey.
let me at least remove it from my head. I'll keep it
Okay,
here.
I can take that more serious. Continue. Sorry.
So so I've been trying to think like, okay, what exactly do I want to do with my, fitness journey? So I've done Pilates. I was a Pilates princess for a little bit. I was like, it's very expensive. So I'm like, maybe not that. But I need to figure out like where else do I want to go? What else do I want to do? Um, I know that I still want to do like strength training. I still want to like be able to lift, but I'm like, I don't know where I want to go. So I think I'm going to take some time and do some like gym hopping and kind of figure out where I want to be. I also did sign up for a gym membership just in general. Because I don't know if I want to get back into just my traditional lifting that I used to do way back in the day when I first started, just being a true gym girly. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm I'm debating it right now.
Well, that's exciting. You'll have to let me know what you
hmm
decide there and if you discover something that you love because, I'm always looking for stuff like that. That's exciting.
Oh, I will for sure. Yes. What about you?
Honestly, for me right now, it's getting my water intake and my skincare under control because, through all the travels, this starts to run amok. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna like schedule a facial, I think, in the beginning of the year, to get it under control. And honestly, I think the biggest issue is I have not been drinking near enough water, which then always makes my skin go crazy. So, um, yeah, that's what I'm really top of mind is like I need to stay hydrated and I need to get my skincare back on track because I was in a
Yeah.
good place and it's run amok.
Yeah. I would love to schedule a facial. I think I've only had one facial, like
Me
professional
too.
facial ever. So
Yeah, I've only done
that'll
it
be
once and I really
nice.
liked it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go back.
hmm Okay. Well, let me know like how like what you book and like what like the process is, because I never know when it comes to that, because I would love to book one. I'm like, but I don't even know what to book. And like, I don't want to get the wrong thing. And like, I want to make sure it's like good for my skin because I have sensitive skin too. So
Totally. Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
yeah,
Okay, well, let's get into the real tea for this episode. How to get out of a rut. Out of a rut.
out of a rut as we're sitting here just wrapped up in our blankets because we have felt that emotional toll that is a rut. What does that look like? You know,
What is
lack
a
of
rut?
motivation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You can define it in many different ways, but I would say lack of motivation, lack of excitement in, just daily tasks. I mean, feeling like, I don't know, feeling kind of burnt out, feeling just checked out of work, all of those things. And
Yeah,
like
lost.
how, yeah, getting out of your normal routine. Like if you are so used to like working out and, eating like balance and things like that, and you go from, that routine to being like, well, I'm going to skip a day. And one day ends up being 2 days, and 2 days ends up being like 4 days. And then before you know it, you've skipped an entire month of the gym, and you went from, maybe meal prepping or eating relatively balanced to just like not really caring what goes into your body.
Mhm.
And then you quickly realize you're like, oh, what's going on with me?
Mhm.
And again, there could be a number of different reasons, and we are not I mean, you are a doctor, but I'm
Not
not.
that kind of
But
doctor. Not that
not
kind of
not that
doctor.
kind of doctor. But right, not that kind of doctor. But I'm also not an expert in this, so I don't want to diagnose you with something. But
Mm-mm.
typically for me, if something happens, I'm like, I'm falling into a little bit of a rut, and I need to get myself out of it. How do I
Mhm.
shake it off to kind of get back into my normal balanced routine? So.
Yeah, girl, same. Or like it even you could also be like doing your daily tasks and doing them and doing them and
Hmm.
doing them, but like resenting it. Or just feeling like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing like when you start to feel
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm doing it, but I hate it, like when you have those like it's like burnout moment, and you're just like, what am I
Yeah,
doing with my whole life? Like you start to like almost like doom, like it all starts to pile up where it sounds like, oh, I just don't want to do this task, or like I
exactly.
don't want to do anything, I just want to rot in bed kind of situation.
Yes,
That's a
that's
rut.
the feeling. And I'm like, because sometimes you just like, you know what? I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to lay here. But I'm like, I
Exactly.
have things to do, and it's hard.
100%. So we've all been there. What are some things that you do because you mentioned noticing, like, oh, I think I'm in a rut. Like, what do you try to do when you get there?
I think for me, like once I've like figured that out, I'm like, all right, let me start small, right? You don't want to like overexert yourself and be like, okay, let's fix everything now, 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 because then, at least for me, that makes it worse.
Yeah.
So, as an example, for me, if I know I'm falling out of my routine with like working out or food, as an example, if I'm falling out of my workout routine, I will just start small and I'll just go on a walk. I'll get up,
Hmm.
go on a walk. And 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever that looks like, just something to move my body in some way. It does not have to be anything strenuous. It does not have to be back at the level that I was at prior to it. I just need to get moving. So I'll go on a walk. Same thing with food. Starting small by let me go make breakfast, or let me make my lunch this time, or let me make it like something small to like ease back into what I was used to. And then gradually, of course, like I can snap out of it pretty quickly once that happens. Like, all right, now I feel like good about it because I'll be like, oh, like I ate, lunch at home and that was good. Like I now want to maybe make dinner at home, and
Hmm.
maybe I'll go shopping and like go pick up some groceries and stuff like that. So like starting small and kind of working your way back to where you were at makes a huge difference. So
Yeah,
that's one
totally.
way.
I also think like with like building off of that, it's like even that sometimes can feel so hard. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
I could go make this, or I can just order and watch this TV show.
Sure.
And like, I think the thing I always have to remind myself when I'm in that mode is like, hey, you may not want to do this, but you're doing something nice for later you. Because you're not going to appreciate it when you're doing the thing that you don't want to do, whether it's the workout or making the meal. It's usually making the meal for me, but like whatever the thing is.
Hmm.
But like tomorrow, you is gonna be so glad you did. And then like you build on that
100%.
momentum until you get to a place where you do then enjoy it again because then you're out of
Yeah,
the rut.
I agree. Setting yourself up for the future makes a huge difference. Because once you see that, like, oh, I feel much better, then you want to hopefully continue that momentum to kind of like get you slowly out of that. So,
Totally. And then I think like also like so there's like like the health rut, and then there's like the like I kind of feel like I was in a rut earlier this year where I was like, I don't like my day job. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing in life? Like, I'm creating content, but it's not going anywhere. Like, what do I want to do? Like, I was just like kind of spiraling.
hmm
And I found that even focusing on, I was just kind of like, I kind of forced myself to like, hey, you kind of gotta sit in this for a little bit and it's gonna come to you. But like, so what can I do in the meantime? And it was the like focus on my health stuff. That's when I was like doing the 75 medium, when I was just spending time with my sister, when I was just, focusing on eating right and working out and like kind of heads down focusing on that. I think that's what then led me
hmm
to more of the clarity of like, what the heck am I doing? Like it, because you got to sit in that time a big change happens, but that can like force you into rut. But focusing on your health and just like what's in front of you, I think can help
yeah,
a lot.
yeah. Definitely taking control of your health is a huge thing. Because I feel like that is like the key in order to kind of see what else is out there, like what else is affecting you to make that better. Um, if it means you need to, you know, talk to your therapist or journal or anything like that, that's something to like let all of that out, but starting with your health first, I think will make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think that can be hard for some of us that are like planners.
hmm
Like I hate not knowing what is my next step in my career, what is my next step that I'm doing with this. Like I'm like I need a plan, and I feel so lost. And so it can be hard to sit in that, and
Right.
that's where like refocusing your energy on that I think can be so helpful. A therapist can be helpful for sure. Um, yeah, and like it's like focus on what you can control, and the rest will find its way to you once you've like worked through some of that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to remember too is that you can only do so much,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't, again, going back to not being able to, not overwhelming yourself, if you focus on things that are outside of your actual control, that is what pauses your journey
Yeah.
in getting out of that rut. So being able to be like, okay, I can only focus on what's right in front of me right now, and that's okay. That is what I'm going to worry about. Once I handle that, we can move on to the next set of things that are in front of me, and don't go beyond that.
100%.
Stay within your reach, stay within your focus. I think makes a huge difference. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And then like the other thing too is like if you're in the kind of rut that is like I'm doing the same thing every day, it's very mundane, I'm not feeling it, try one thing new. Like I think sometimes we think that we have to like, cool, if I'm gonna try this hobby, I have to go all in on this hobby and make it my entire personality, and that's the only way that it's gonna work out. Like say you're like, hey, I've been, going back to your like gym example. Let's say you're someone who's like, I've been going to the gym for this many years. I'm like bored with it. I'm gonna now become a cyclist and I'm gonna quit the gym and go all in on cycle. Like that's not how to do it. Like just go to one class, go to one cycling class, just see how you feel about it. Like just
Right.
try something new in like a small way. I don't know, like at least that's how I am. I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, this is who I am now and this is who I'm gonna be. And it's like, no, girl, like just like try one thing and it doesn't need to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, and that's probably why I burnt out of Pilates so quickly because I was guilty of that because I was like, yes, Pilates princess era. Like, let me sign up, let me hop into those classes. And I was like so quick to sign up. And then I did the classes for those first couple weeks and I was like into it. I was there and then I was like, oh, I don't I don't want to be here anymore. And so
Yeah.
then begrudgingly continued going because I was like, well, I'm paying for it. I need to like use this up. And so once my like trial period ended, then I was like, all right, I'm just over it now.
Yeah.
So I got out of it. So I was like, well, I'm kind of done. So I think now moving forward, if I'm going to try anything new or just experience something like maybe get a trial class, see how I actually like it, and then
Yeah.
like sit with that and like, okay, let's talk about how I actually feel. I'm like, is this something that I can see myself doing long term, or is this a short term situation? And then like figure out how to, move from there.
Yeah. And at least you like realized during the trial period that you changed your mind and you were like, I'm gonna hold on to this membership for a year and then I'll get around to
Right.
canceling it.
exactly. Because it's 3 months, but I had to pay. I thankfully didn't pay like the last month because they were like, we'll get you out of it early.
Well,
I
that's
was
good.
like, thank you. So I
Yeah.
realized it quickly, like before the little like cutoff. So I was like, it's time, it's time to retire my little Pilates princess era. So on to the next.
On to the next one. I love that. Okay,
hmm
what else do you do to get out of a rut?
I talk about this often. I love a good self-care day. So just something simple. Again, I mean, anything. Again, going back to going on a walk, getting back into your skincare if that makes you feel good, taking a nice everything shower, um, just really anything, or honestly, just nothing. You can just sit with yourself, read a book, whatever you need to. Just whatever self care looks like to you, do that because I feel like that will help kind of like get you in a better mindset, in a better mood, and kind of hopefully get you motivated into doing other things. At least for me, when I know that I'm like feeling just like blah, I do
Hmm.
something self-care related and I'm like, okay, now that I'm like in this mood, let's see what else I can accomplish. If it's, picking up my house or something, or
Hmm.
going and like getting groceries because I need to like get back into cooking, or just something, again, going back to those things that are something small,
Hmm.
taking like one task at a time makes a huge difference. But I think for me, starting with like a self-care task and kind of like getting in like just getting in a good mood and starting from there helps. So,
100%. I will also add, and obviously not everyone has the luxury or privilege of doing this, but I personally find that my most successful self-care days are the ones that I like don't use on a weekend, but I literally call in sick for work for it. Because then I'm like, because I think
mhm.
sometimes your weekends are like so precious or so busy. Like you already have scheduled stuff that like they happen weekly, you always get them. But there's something for me about like, and I don't do this often, but like when I'm truly, truly burnt out or just like really struggling to get any task done, I'm like, you know what? I truly need a self-care mental health day. And those are the days where like, cool, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm going to yoga, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna eat a good lunch, I'm gonna work on something that like my book or like something that's like I'm passionate about this just for me. I'm gonna do my skincare, everything like I do all of that and then I feel so much more rested than like, oh, it's a Saturday and I have tomorrow, so I could do it tomorrow, and then it's like Sunday anxiety and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I agree. I think a weekend self-care day slash, time for yourself is very different than taking a day off. I'm a big advocate. Use your PTO,
Yes.
especially if you have the luxury of having it, whether it's unlimited or you have like a set amount of weeks or days or whatever your company does. Take your PTO.
Hmm.
Take your PTO. Like, do what you have to do at work, but take your PTO because that's so important because you need to show up 100% in those aspects. And if you're burnt out, take PTO.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I'm very thankful
Or to be
for,
frank, take a sick day because your mental health is
oh,
health. I
that's
take sick
true.
days.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you have a bunch of different options for that.
Yeah.
I know my company, we have specific like we have mental health like time off, and then we
Mm,
have, yes, the sick days and all of that too. So
nice.
I will use one of those days and just, that's
Yeah.
for me. Like I will see y'all when I see y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I think that those actually are more, I agree with you, more beneficial because I'm actually able to like reset, refocus myself, get back into just doing something for me that day, then being able to go to bed early, which is so nice
Yeah.
because I'm not stressed about what happened in that day. I can just go to bed, wake up and be like, okay, now I feel much better to, tackle a work day and, get back into other things that I've got going on.
1,000%. I'm glad you agree because I wondered that. I'm like, am I the only
hmm
one who feels this way? It just feels different when it's during the week. It just does, and sometimes you just need it.
I like it during the week too because everybody else is at work.
Yeah.
And so it
No one's
seems like a
bugging you.
little less chaotic. Yeah, no one's bugging me and like it seems a little bit less chaotic. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I do have a good weekend, self-care time when I have it. But like sometimes that feels, like you said, it kind of feels rushed because it's a weekend and you know that like Monday's coming versus I'm taking off a random Wednesday. I'm going to do all of like these things and knowing that like, okay, I can just ease back into the day and it's fine. So,
For sure. I think the other thing that I have found helpful about being in a rut is like actually talking about your rut. Like, I know maybe that feels obvious, but I'm not sure it does. Like, I will say that like earlier this year I was kind of, I don't know if I was in a full rut, but I was definitely in a little bit of a rut, and I was having a moment, and I was back in California for work, and I went and saw Chrissy, one of our friends,
Hmm.
Chrissy, and she like, we just had the girl talk, we were just
Yeah.
like able to like vent it all out, and like it just, I don't know, like not that she like solved anything for me or I solved anything for her, but like something about speaking it out loud helped me realize like, oh, I'm not crazy for feeling this way, or oh, I
Yeah.
just need to
You're not
snap out of
crazy. You're
it.
not alone.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like
Like,
this is
it's nice to
normal.
be able to, like, 100%. It is a normal thing. It's nice to be able to confide in friends
Yeah.
who are probably going through the same thing. Like, I know right now my group chat is like, we've been chatting about how we're feeling a little bit burnt out, we're feeling a little bit tired, and just feeling like, okay, it's time to like close out this year. So it's nice to be able to have people to lean on in those moments, because you know that like you will get out of it, and it's nice to
Yeah.
know that like your friends are going to be there, supporting you in every step. So
100%. And like, and sometimes it makes the problems feel smaller, which then is easier to snap out of
hmm
it, I think, too. You're like, oh,
yes,
you've gone through this too? Oh, I thought I was the only one, which is like stupid because of course I'm not. But like, I don't know, there's just something about that, and it's real nice. So like, talk to your people, I feel like is a good one.
absolutely, exactly. With all this talk, friend, I'm
Oh,
starting to feel a little bit better. The
oh,
blanket is coming off.
the glow up, the glow up.
The glow up is real.
Oh, look at us.
Wow, look at us. We have emerged.
Oh, new people. I feel like, have you seen those birthing rituals? Do you have to like
No,
rebirth? Wait,
no.
wait,
What?
didn't they do it on, what did they do it? They did it on some show. Was it Love? It wasn't Love Island. Perfect Match, I think is what they did it on, where they like did a
Oh,
rebirthing thing and you like come out of the womb.
ah,
It's very woo-woo and very weird, honestly.
yeah.
But I felt like we were
That
just
that's
having our rebirthing moment.
we stripped the rut layers off.
Oh yes,
So
the
that's where
rut
we're
layer.
at.
I love it.
Yes, that's where we're at.
Okay, well, let's get into our podcast game. What's our podcast game today, Stephanie?
Y'all, my favorite. What's the egg?
The way
And
that
I
you
have to
say
say
it
it like
every
that.
time is so good.
I have to say it like that. What's the ick, friends? Okay. Let me go ahead and start. I'll go ahead and start this one off. So, y'all, as you know, we like to share our icks and just explanation, no explanation. That's just the vibe. My ick right now is flaky people.
Mm.
Flaky, flaky people. I cannot stand. Um, I don't want to give too many details because I don't know who's listening, but like, if you feel offended, then the shoe fits. So I don't like when I've invited people, I'll just use my birthday as an example.
Mhm.
I invite you to my birthday, right? And you're like, oh, I'm so excited, da 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 da. And then you ask me a few days before, wait, when is it again? And I tell you the date, da 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 da, I'll be there. And then you don't show up. And not only do you not show up, you don't text me, you don't call me, you don't need to be like, hey, like this is what happened, I'm so sorry. You just ghost.
Mm-mm.
Like, are you well? And I know there's nothing going on because I'll go double check because sometimes things happen and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, but sometimes, emergencies happen. But like when I know that nothing actually happened, you just decided like, I'm going to leave and I'm not going
Mhm.
to say anything.
Mhm.
I don't like that behavior. And now you're on the not going to invite list. So
Wait, can I pile
yeah,
on to this? This is not my ick, but I need to pile on as well because
sure.
everything you just
Yeah,
described, I agree
absolutely.
with. Um, Also, it's giving people pleasing behavior. It's giving, I don't have the confidence in myself to just tell you, hey, I'm not able to make it. So instead, I'm going to lead you on like I'm going to be there, and then I'm not going to be there, which pisses me off. I'm like, if you don't want to hang
Yes.
out with me, just say you can't make it. Just
Right.
say no. But instead, you led
Like
me
I'm literally
on.
not offended.
Like
Yeah, like I don't
literally.
care. Like you wanted to be part of my day. And so I'm like, sure, like you're more than welcome to come. Like here are I invited you.
Hmm.
You said you would be there. You double checked the date and then you just don't come.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're sick. It's not because because again, everybody who didn't show up had a reason. And again, I'm not keeping tabs like that. But at the same time, like, don't say you want to come and then you just don't come without an explanation. Like, that's weird to me. And then I don't hear from you. But then I find out through the grapevine that you're actually doing okay, that you're just fine. So I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
That's weird to me. I'm not talking about the people who skip last minute because they have shit going on
Yeah.
and things happening. That's different. I'm talking about flaky ass people, the ones that don't have a good reason, don't even communicate, don't follow through. That's the shit I have an issue with.
I agree. I agree 100%. It's just like, just be honest with yourself because
Yeah.
now you have a, now that's just what I know about you. Now that's just who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So now I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm just taking a mental note on that. So,
That's a good one. That's a good ick. Okay, my
mhm.
ick is more specific. Um, my ick is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
He's
So
icky to begin with. So what's the tea on that?
that has been a journey as a Green Bay Packers fan.
Hmm.
Used to long time ago, pre him really sharing more about his life, really liked him, he's a good quarterback, all great. But I think like, we saw during, his time coming on the Pat McAfee show, we saw him showing a little bit more arrogance, a little bit more of his privilege, a little bit more of his stupidity, and
Mm.
he slowly became very, very icky. But the reason I'm calling him out specifically now is he just dropped his new documentary, which I'm going to watch, but I have not watched yet, but I've been seeing a lot of clips from on TikTok, which is fascinating. And
Hmm.
he is, as you would expect in those clips. And also specifically, I think he called him out on the Pat McAfee show. He called out this guy. His name is Ryan Clark. I don't know if you know who he is, but
Okay.
I didn't
Mm-mm.
know his name. I had to look up his name, but I recognize him because he has a podcast called the Pivot Podcast, which I've seen clips from before. And I guess I don't know, Ryan Clark like criticized something about Aaron Rodgers. And so then Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show and he was like, before you come at me, he was literally like, you can come at me, but if you're going to come at me, first you need to tell me your vaccination status. And I was like, what? Like vaccination was not
What?
part of the topic that was being criticized on. And that's what he said. And so then Ryan Clark went and did a video and he's like, okay, let's talk about it. And he basically very calmly, very nicely just obliterated Aaron Rodgers. And the reality of the situation is Aaron Rodgers used to be really great. Aaron Rodgers is now quite mediocre on a very bad team. And he's lost all of his power. Like when people who are narcissists who were on top suddenly lose everything, they start to scramble, they start to
Right.
freak out, they start to like panic, and that's clearly what's like going on with him. And so it just gives me the ick and it's angry because, I was like, I was rooting for you at one time and just you continue to just spiral down this hill until you're like
Spiral.
an
Yeah.
angry old man in the corner, and that's what he's gonna be. So that's my ick,
Wow. How embarrassing for him.
truly. I'm like, you should go to therapy. Yes.
Yikes. Oh, men like that think that there's nothing wrong with them, so they're not going to go to therapy.
No, he'll
They're
just
the
go do
same
it.
ones that are like, yeah, they're like, no, everything's fine, and they want to like try and like tell you that there's something wrong with you, but they're the ones that are like harboring the issues. So
Hmm.
he won't go to therapy.
Yes, the smallest man who ever lived. All right. Well, this was successful. We got our icks out of the way. We got out of our rut cocoons that we were in at the beginning of the
We
show.
did.
And yeah, I hope this is helpful. I hope people who are also feeling like they're in a rut feel like, they're not alone.
Hmm.
We've been there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like we said, take it, one day at a time, small steps, talk to people, just be kind to yourself because you're going to get out of it. So you'll be all right.
100%. So we haven't done this the last couple of episodes because we've just been yapping, but we used to earlier in the season, talk about the last drop of tea for the day. So, Stephanie, do you want to drop the last or spill the last drop of tea for today?
Yes, yes, I will. So the last drop of tea for the day is getting out of a rut isn't something that happens overnight, and it's okay if you don't have everything figured out right now. The key is to take small, intentional steps towards change and be patient with yourself along the way. Just embrace the process of self discovery and remember it's perfectly fine to evolve at your own pace.
I love that. We'll see you soon, friends. Bye.
Bye.